So I got a question. I know you were asked about the full court press after the game the other day. I guess I'm wondering if, you and the coaching staff see any ways to kind of take the energy that seems to happen when you guys use that and kind of bring it to your normal, preferred base defense.
Our defense, we have all different type of defensive, I would say, types, whether it's ball screen coverage, full court one-on-one coverage, or press defense. And, we throw everything on the table when it comes to scouting our opponents and what we feel when is the right time to sprinkle it in. But in a situation where you're competing with your opponent, you're always trying to figure out what's the best way to be disruptive. And so press defense will always be a part of our defensive, I would say, buffet line.
Gotcha. All right, thanks.
Next up is Michael Cohen from the Detroit Free Press.
Hey, Juwan, happy birthday again. I was just curious, when it comes to Hunter and how efficient he's been scoring the ball lately, what are some of the things that he's doing? Is it getting into the right positions? Is it passes, finding him in the right spot that has allowed him to shoot, 60, 70, sometimes even 80% from the field in certain games?
Thank you for wishing me happy birthday. I appreciate that. Hunter has been working hard throughout the season, off season, finding ways to be effective to help his team, whether it's inside scoring or outside scoring. And to his credit, he's always been dialed in as a competitor to do whatever it takes to help, put us in the best position to be a competitive team. And, with his skill set and how dynamic he is on both sides of the floor, it's always a great strength to have for us moving forward to give us a competitive edge.
We'll move over to Jack Kingsley from the Michigan Daily.
Hey, Juwan, happy birthday. I guess the last two games against Nebraska and Purdue, you went away from Musa down the stretch. What was kind of your rationale behind that decision?
No, actually, it's not singling out one individual. When you look at our team in last game and, that last group that was out there, they had it going and they did some really good things and fighting back and getting us back in the ball game. It's just tough to disrupt that flow. And Musa is a very mature young man. He understands the big picture and he also understands the why. But it's nothing against, Musa or any other player who wasn't out there on the floor. You just don't want to break up that rhythm when you have a team who's done a great job of fighting throughout the game and making runs and responding after runs and at the same time getting stops on the other end. Me as a coach, it's tough to disrupt that type of group and type of flow.
We'll move over to David Horak from Wood TV in Grand Rapids.
Hey, Coach, happy birthday to you. For you guys, you got Penn State up next. Another crazy arena in terms of how noisy it can get with the whiteout game. They too fell just short with Purdue earlier in the season, most recently. Given that you guys were in the same situation with Mackey being Mackey, and also with Hunter having that scoring stretch, how are you guys preparing yourselves in terms of tunneling out the noise with the dog days, so to speak, as we get kind of closer and closer to the conference tournament?
Well, this is not our first rodeo when it comes to playing on the road and playing in front of a very noisy, loud, energetic type crowd. So, thinking back to North Carolina, going back to Central Florida, and then Indiana being in Illinois, all special places to play in. And Mackey got extremely loud, so it's not our first time. It's a part of the competition. We enjoy it. Our guys have doing a really good job of responding. They're not allowing the road noise to get to them. You know, we've done a good job of staying organized and understanding what needs to be done, and then preparing for, you know, what those type of environments are like.
We'll move over to James Hawkins with the Detroit News.
Hey, Juwan, good morning and happy birthday. I have a couple questions about Hunter. It seems like this season, Hunter, he embraces being the villain on the road. I guess when you have a player like that who maybe draws the focus of opposing fans, does that make it easier for the other guys on the floor? Do you feel like it maybe takes pressure off them and allows them to play their game?
You know, there's different myths and also different opinions. But I would just say this, that Hunter is a competitor and he thrives on competition. It's nice to see a young man, no matter what, he embraces whoever he play against and also wherever he play at. And that's what, you know, basketball, and that's what the passion and love for the game is all about. And Hunter has displayed that he has a passion and love for the game of basketball.
Right. And I know you guys always talk about getting 1% better each day. For someone like Hunter, and given how well he's been playing, I mean, is there anything he can even do better at this point?
Oh, they all can do something better. And, you know, it's always, myself included, you know, it's always room for growth. And, you know, we will continue to keep working in the gym. Hunter will continue to keep learning and growing. You know, once you stop or you feel like you've made it or arrived or you don't have nothing else to work on, then I've always said this, you might as well retire from the game of basketball. And I know Hunter is not ready to retire.
Coach will move back to Michael from the Free Press.
Hey, Juwan, after the game at Michigan State, you mentioned how different the level of communication can be when your defense is playing closest to your bench versus when they're playing on the other end of the floor, and it's harder to hear instruction from the coaches. And I was just wondering if in the 2 games since then, have you seen improvements on the defensive end, or at least with the communication when the team has been on the opposite side of the floor from you guys as a staff?
Yes, I have. And you know, it's important that our guys got to continue to keep over communicating out there on the floor, and you know, as much as possible, you know, take away from some of the mistakes that are happening. But it's great to have, you know, the team in front of us in the first half, because then we can help, you know, a lot. You know, and I give our guys, not the guys that are not playing in the game, when they're sitting on the bench, they're so, you know, active and into the game with their voices and communicating to the players that are on the floor, just feeding life to them. I wish we can have that for both halves, where we can have the defense on our end for the second half, but unfortunately it's not like that. But I've seen growth in our guys who are out there on the floor when the defense is on the other side of the floor. But we got to continue to keep growing in that area.
We'll move back to James from the Detroit News.
Hey, Juwan, I guess just what have you seen from Penn State on film, and I guess how different are they under Micah Shrewsbury this year?
Yeah, Penn State, one thing I know about with them is they have shooting all over the floor. And they also have a big that, you know, does an excellent job of attacking on the offensive glass, and he plays his role to the best of his skill set. And so at home for Penn State, and they shoot the ball extremely well with the shooting that they have on the floor. You know, it's going to be very important for us to not allow any open looks to some of the three-point shooting, because all it does is generates a lot of life into the crowd, and then what it does is add more confidence to the players that's out there on the floor.
And then I guess just what do you think are going to be the biggest challenges this week? Obviously, you travel to Penn State tomorrow, then you're playing 3 games in 5 days. Just what do you think is going to be the toughest part about navigating this stretch?
Well, rest and recovery. You know, but it kind of reminds me of the NBA schedule. You know, NBA, and I know a lot of these young men have not experienced that NBA lifestyle as far as what the 82-game schedule is like, where you play every other day, or sometimes you may play 4 games in 7 days. But from last year, now leading up to this year with COVID being a reason why, there's some games that, you know, have to be played because of, you know, postponement. we will figure it out. We will not make any excuses because we're not the only team in the country that will have to experience what we're going to experience this week.
And I guess, given how busy this week is, are you going to have any time to even celebrate your birthday?
Good question. No, I'm not. Just celebrate my birthday as being with the players and staff, getting in the gym and enjoying the opportunity and being honored and grateful to be able to work with a fun group. And so that's my celebration. And, you know, maybe like when I retire from coaching, I'll be able to, hopefully, if I'm still around, God willing, that I'll get a chance to celebrate birthdays. But it's always been that way for me since I was playing. You know, my birthday has always fallen around, you know, the basketball season. So I don't remember too often when I have celebrated a birthday.
We'll move back to Michael from the Free Press again.
Hey, Juwan, just following up on James's question about the congestion of the schedule here. With 3 games in such close proximity, does that influence at all the way you think about minutes or playing time for a guy so that they're not worn out by the time Saturday comes? Or is it just one game and whatever you have to do to get through one, then you'll worry about the second one after?
Well, it's all hands on deck. You know, it's going to be all hands on deck. And so all guys that are, you know, that's suiting up with a uniform, we're going to need each and every one of them.